Hello. Good morning to those of you who are stateside. Good evening to those of you who are on the English side. I realized that I forgot to download the images that I wanted to show you from today, but that's all right. I can post something about them later. So today's the day. It has been 50 days since I started this project, November 10th, 2022. And today is my 50th birthday. So we are just back from tea at Betty's, which was the whole reason that we came to York in the first place. I'm wearing this new beautiful scarf. Let me see if you can see a little bit of it from Quinn. Absolutely gorgeous. My mom paid for the tea. Maz said yes to this trip. I'm wearing a necklace from my friend Ellen. And yeah, just really, really, it's been a fantastic day in York. Cold and windy, but fantastic. So I'm not going to answer the questions because I'm just not going to. It's my deal, and I guess I get to say it how I want to say it. But I do have some thoughts. One, I want to thank all of the guests. There were more than 50. There was probably 50, I think 54 all total. Everyone who said yes to this project. I loved every single one of these conversations. They were interesting and had really beautiful themes and gave me insight into some people who I know very well and introduced me to new people who I knew previously, but not for a long time or hardly knew at all. And every conversation mattered to me. So thank you for so joyfully showing up as a guest. Thank you to everybody who watched this 50-day project. A lot of you know that this trip has been 4 years in the making. Maz and I spent my 46th birthday in Yorkshire, and I just declared then and there that this was how I would spend my 50th birthday. And I want to say how lucky I feel that I got to make that happen. 20-year-old, 30-year-old, even 40-year-old me would not believe that I got to say, I want to take 6 people to England and I want to just pull off this huge thing and that it would just happen. So I am filled with gratitude for the day. I'm filled with gratitude for the 50 conversations. And I want to talk just a little bit about some of the big takeaways for me of these conversations. There were 3 themes that I think really showed up prominently. One was be kind. So many people said, you're just never going to be out to be kind to other people. And I think that that is very true. I have never regretted when I've chosen to take the high road, the kind road, over the low road. Never. Michelle Obama is not wrong. When they go low, we go high. Go high. Whenever possible, go high. Another one is stop caring so much about what other people think of you. Who cares? Here's the thing. Think how much time you spend thinking about yourself. Do I look fat in this? Ooh, my eyes look wrinkly. Oh, I wish my hair was better. Oh my gosh, I hate my smile. Oh, I wish I had done this. Oh, this, that, and the other. Guess what? Everybody's thinking about themselves that way. So you know who they're not thinking about? You. So I don't really struggle with that much, in part because I recognize that I'm mostly thinking about myself. But I don't really care what other people think of me. I never really have. Never. Which doesn't mean I have no fear of how I am perceived, but it does mean that was just a really interesting affirmation for me to hear so many people say, just stop being worried that you're going to be judged, that you're going to fail, wondering how people will perceive you. So I thought that was important. And the third thing that I never, ever, ever could have expected, but delighted me more than probably any other piece of advice, and I heard it from so many people, was that 50 to 60, will be the best decade. I love the idea of thinking that from today forward for 10 years has the potential to be my most creative, my most abundant, my most energetic, my most joyful, and my most fruitful time. I feel like I have never been where I am today. Never. I have a belief in myself that feels unlike anything I have ever experienced. I am so ready to leap and not plummet, leap and soar. And I feel like people telling me that only confirmed that I'm ready and that my instinct is not wrong, that this is my time. I'll let you in on a little secret. I have waited my whole life for my time. I never really fit in. I was always sort of an awkward child. I wasn't cool. I wasn't popular. Shocking. But I didn't really fit in. I didn't not fit in, but I was, I've just always sort of been like a multi-shaped thing trying to be fit into a square. And here's what I believe is true. That square is not even in my rearview mirror anymore. That's so exciting to me. I am done trying to fit the square. Many of you might be thinking, did you ever try to fit the square? Not really, but I'm for sure done trying to fit it now. Because you know what? I'm 50. Take me or leave me. When I interviewed for the arts partnership job, a lot of you have heard me say this, but at the interview, they asked me, how do you deal with people who don't like you? Now, let's keep in mind, I'd never had a full-time job. I was applying to be the executive director of a nonprofit. I didn't know anything about nonprofits. I didn't know anything about leadership. I didn't know anything about anything, really. How do you deal with people who don't like you? And I paused and I said, well, I'm like mayonnaise. You either like me or you don't. And if you don't, I don't really care. And even I, in that moment, thought, wow, that's kind of an audacious statement to make. But it is how I felt. It is how I feel. I am just unapologetically me. And I feel like all of a sudden, I get to take a deep breath and just own that. And that feels extraordinary. So, I don't need to go on and on. There were so many really lovely lessons and so many things I learned. I was so moved by talking to my dad. I learned some stuff from my dad that I don't think I could have heard from him any other way. I was so moved talking to my mom. I loved talking to there was nobody I talked to that I thought, oh, I shouldn't have used them. Everybody showed up and brought such beautiful, authentic, real self to the conversation. I just loved it. And I think that I'm going to try and turn it into a book because I think there is real value to taking this time, taking stock of, in theory, the first half or so of my life and hearing from other people how they took stock. We don't take enough time to take stock, to stop and say, what do I know now? What did I know then? What has served me well? I want to be intentional. I want to be present. I want to be clear, and I want to be curious. Intentional, present, clear, and curious. And that's why I developed the 3 questions that I did. It's why I invited the kinds of people that I did. Let me just also say this. If you're someone who feels really bad that I didn't invite you to this conversation, I apologize. I'm so fortunate to have so many fabulous people in my life. I could have done 50 completely different people and ended up having 50 absolutely also brilliant conversations. So don't think to yourself, well, she clearly said no to me. I really didn't. I invited 55 people to have conversations with me, and 53 of them said yes. Or 54. So maybe I invited 57 people, whatever. I invited a number of people, and most of them said yes. So I guess my thought from this is, if you are having a substantial birthday coming up, or if you're someone who likes to take these last few days of the year and really reflect on this current year as it's winding down and looking forward to the next year, have some conversations with people who you know well and who you hardly know. Ask them the same questions and see what kinds of things start to emerge over and over and over again. Because those are probably the places that will stick with you the most. There were bits and pieces from every single conversation that keep running through my head. And what I'm most looking forward to now is being done with this. Because believe it or not, 50 conversations is a lot of conversations on top of this trip and a job and all those other things. But I'm really looking forward to setting this down, taking some time away from it, and then coming back and going back and listening to them all over again and figuring out what else is there to take from these really meaningful, beautiful, joyful conversations. So thank you. Thanks for all the good wishes. Thanks for coming along with me, whether you did it for all of them or some of them. Thanks for saying yes. I wish you the same opportunity to reflect on where you've been and where you're going with the people in your life who have something to offer you, something substantive to mull over. I've had a fantastic birthday, and I loved getting to lead up to it for such a significant amount of time in such a meaningful way. Have a great rest of your December 29th. I'm going to go off and maybe go get a glass of wine with my spouse, who, in case anyone is nervous, will be drinking a non-alcoholic beer, and my son and his girlfriend, to wind down the end of a truly beautiful, memorable, executed 50th birthday. Thanks. I'll see you soon.